Good evening. Good evening. It is Friday, and so here we are with another episode of It's a Different World with Creatives on Campus, where we explore all things creatives, campus, and community. I am really excited tonight. We weren't here last week, so it feels good to be back and to share out what the creative community that we work with, what they're up to, what we've been up to within the Creatives on Campus program, and just all of the excitement with the start of a brand new school year and what that brings for us and for our students. So, tonight is going to be a really, really exciting episode. I have a very special guest coming on who I will share more about briefly. But before we get to that, I want to just share a few updates, announcements with you about what we have coming up, what we have going on. Some really, really cool events coming up that you definitely want to be a part of. And I will start with a partnership that we shared a little bit about the last time that we were on. And that partnership is with a brand called BYOB Live. And they are based out of Maryland. They are a creative organization just like us. They do exceptional work with the creative community. And this year they're launching an initiative for HBCU students. And so if you are a student attending an HBCU or you know a student attending an HBCU, um, contact us. We want to put you in touch. They have some really, really cool, super dope opportunities coming up this year for students who are attending HBCUs, for you to be a part of some of the creative projects that they're working on. And so, again, if you are an HBCU student or you know one, contact us, email us, creatives@happily better.com. Second thing that I want to share is regarding, let's see, another partnership um, that we recently just decided to take part in. Rowan University is hosting the Politics of Black and Brown Hair Symposium. That's going to be on September 15th. So that's coming up in like 2 weeks. It's a free event, virtual, of course. And it's pretty cool because it happens to land on World Afro Day. So shout out to everybody who's rocking their Afro. Join us if you want the details. We'll be posting the flyer soon. I have the privilege of being a moderator on one of the student panels. The panel discussion is called That Ain't It, Busting Myths. And I believe we're going to be talking about hair and how Black women, even Black men, you know, how we show up in the workplace and in professional settings, and some of just the conversations around our hair and our hair texture and how that impacts our experiences and even sometimes the way we're treated, unfortunately. This is my would-be third year taking part in this symposium. Last year, it was canceled. It was actually right at the start of COVID-19 in March. The event got canceled, and so it's exciting that they have it coming back, and they've made it available virtually. So that's at Rowan University. One more thing I'll highlight before we go ahead and get started and bring our guests in is another really, really, really exciting opportunity that is going to be launching in October. And so we will share more on this, but this is seriously a great opportunity. Creators on Campus is partnering with Lost in the City. And so we're calling this Lost in the City with Creators on Campus, where students and emerging creative professionals will be able to do a live-in accelerator. Now, I know you're wondering, how are we doing a live-in anything and COVID-19 is happening? Well, this is the thing. Lost in the City is an Airbnb that has been curated beautifully. I mean, this Airbnb is beautiful. It is. I wish I could live there year round. It's just a beautiful space, an amazing space to come to be inspired, to feel, to get that creative surge that you need to be productive. We are partnering with the founder of this space to host students, creatives, and professionals for 3 months. Of course, we are already thinking about what does the sanitization look like of that space? What does it look like to make sure that we keep it on point? But we'll share more about those opportunities. We have flyers for all of these things coming up, but I felt like I needed to at least just share with y'all tonight a little bit about what we've been working on in order to make sure that the students that we serve have not only a good academic year, but that they remain connected, engaged, and just present in such a time where it's very easy to not. So I think that's a great segue into tonight's guest and the conversation that we're going to have tonight, as well as to share some upcoming announcements and things that we're working on together. But you may have heard me talk about this young lady because honestly, I do a lot and she doesn't even know it. She may not even know it, but I'm always just talking about her because she is incredibly resilient. She's incredibly brilliant. And she is just, I believe, ahead of her time. You know, I always say when I was her age or when I was in college at that grade level, or I wasn't there. I wasn't thinking about some of the things that I've heard her express, and even being a founder at this age, I think is absolutely exciting. And so, without further ado, I'm gonna bring on someone by the name of Shaniyla Johnson, who is the founder of Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. And I will let her talk more about what that organization is all about. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and bring Shaniyla in. Shaniyla, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for being on tonight. I know you're usually the one backstage helping us keep everything together on the front end. So it's really cool to have you come and be on camera and be the one sharing
Yeah, it's a different experience, but I like it.
tonight. Cool, cool. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your organization, Leaders of the Beautiful Struggle.
So, first off, I am a junior at Rutgers Camden. I'm here in Camden, New Jersey. And I'm also the founder of an organization called Leaders of the Beautiful Struggle, which is a play off of the organization called Leaders of the Beautiful Struggle in Baltimore. And the organization is just a network of young professionals from Camden who come together to give back to the youth. So it's kind of like youth helping youth, like youth putting a hand back to help other youth kind of achieve the things that they're achieving or even do better than what they're achieving.
Nice, nice. And what inspired that? Like, what even inspired you to want to start something like that?
So I think I have a knack for finding resources. And I think I get that from my mom because when we were younger, um, she would always find things for us to do, like via like Eventbrite, or just always take us to like different places. So I think she passed that down to me. So I just have a knack for like finding stuff. So my freshman year of college, I was always finding like internships with like these different opportunities. So I was like, Pat, I don't have anybody to share all these cool resources with. So I was like, the end of my freshman year, going into sophomore year, about May of 2017, I decided to create an organization to just share and spread out these resources.
Hmm. Yeah, I wonder, like, I always, like, even in introducing you, I feel like you are ahead of a lot of probably your peers and definitely where I was at that time. So when I hear you now say that there's um this gift to be able to like find resources, it like to me it makes sense, right? Like that's a part of seizing the moment and the opportunity of college and being on a college campus and um, being able to network and engage in that way by taking advantage of the resources at your disposal. So um, that's like a learning moment for me in terms of like learning more about you for sure. What would you say about your college experience? I know you had, um, I say a privilege because I think it is a pretty unique experience to have attended an out-of-state university. You've attended at the local and community college level, and now you're at an amazing research-based university like Rutgers, Camden. So, what what has your experience been like at those different turns and transitions within your student journey?
It's definitely been an experience, but I think I've been privileged to see like both sides of higher education. So like community college and kind of four-year institution, and I think I've been privileged to see like both sides and from a diversity perspective because like so Loyola University was the first institution that I went to in Baltimore, and that now I'm at Rutgers University, and both of them are predominantly white institutions, but Loyola was a lot less diverse than Rutgers is. So I've kind of been privileged to see both of those and how both of them affect my education. Um, so what was the question? I feel like I'm about to.
I mean, no, that's a good question right there. How has it impacted you? Like you're talking about these predominantly white institutions. Like, what's been the difference between these institutions and just like the value or um, some of the challenges that came at one university versus another?
Yeah, so I think when I was at Loyola, it was very hard because um, I was still trying to figure out who I was. Well, I'm still trying to figure out who I am as like a black woman, but I think when I was like from the ages of like 18 to the time that I was 20 when I left Loyola, like those were really like the foundational years of when I was struggling to find out the identity. So to do that in a very predominantly white space was very, very hard. Um, and yeah, it was just really, really hard to be like, and I was in an economics major, so most of my class were full of like white men. So it was just very hard to kind of navigate that. But it was also kind of interesting because I was kind of from this underdog perspective. They had some really fired up like social justice type activists at that school. So it was a very different experience where you were in the minority, but because of that, there was always a lot of like fighting between and like activist work going on between the students and the faculty to get things done for students of color at that school.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting to me. Um, you know, it's to me there's like this really just drastic change that happens when you go from being, a high school or even like K through 12 period, right? And then you transition into college, and now it's more of this world of being an adult for the first time. Um, being in an institution where you have, again, like you were just saying, like you essentially move into this activist role, it feels like, right? Because as a student of color, you realize, what your needs are, where the gaps are. So, you know, how was even your transition, like from high school into college, and just kind of like the result of those differences from high school into college?
Um, so I want to say something first about the other question.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said like I had to kind of play an activist role at Loyola, and I think that was very hard because I had such a rough transition to college. So it was like I was trying to figure out myself as a college student, as well as having to um, advocate on behalf of like other students. So it was like they wanted me to be something like bigger than myself when I didn't even have myself figured out.
Yeah.
Um, so, and what did you just ask me?
Now, well, before I ask you the other question again, I'll respond to what you just said, which is a great point, and I think it's a great um, point to why Creators on Campus exists and what even prompted me to create it, which is, there's this expectation, and I know because I've worked in higher ed for 10 years, there's this expectation that students will show up, be present, be active, be engaged, retain information. When, like you just said, how can I, why do I care about what I'm learning? Why do I care about this information being dumped on me when in my personal life, in my personal space, right, as a part of my own cultural self concept, I don't even feel confident. right? How can I show up in a way in one relationship when I'm not having a positive relationship with myself? And so that's kind of just a great point again to why Creatives on Campus is such an important program. But the question I had posed to you was about your transition from high school into college and how that transition was.
It was rough. So I was very, very busy in high school because I did the New Jersey Choice program. So that's a program where if you go to a school that's a failing school district, you get a voucher to go to a school in a school district that's not failing. So I went to, for anyone who's familiar with New Jersey, I went to Sterling High School in Somerdale, New Jersey. Um, and I was very busy because I had to commute like by bus to get there and back to school. And then as part of being a choice student, I had to commit to an extracurricular activity, and I chose NJROTC, which is kind of like a military-based program. So I was in that, and then that's when I also did sports. So I did basketball and track and field. So I would start my day at like 5 a.m. and I would went in my days until like 11 or 12 at night. So I went from being like very busy um, to I was still busy in college, but it was like a different type of busy where I would have like more space throughout my day. And then I chopped off that whole commute. So it went from me commuting an hour and a half to get to school or get back from school to just me being able to leave class and then walk to my dorm. Um, so
Ooh,
I really struggled with time management. Um, and I kind of like within the first 3 weeks of trying to like manage everything with this school, like going to events and going to class, I kind of crashed because I missed an assignment, which kind of threw me into a whole kind of like mental health awareness thing that I'm still dealing with now.
thank you for sharing because uh, again, it's 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 such an important conversation, and I'm going to take a moment to have the conversation because it's such an important conversation that people who are watching understand what is associated on a mental health and a wellness perspective, um, what college students are experiencing, what um, you know, I think with college there's this normalizing of stress, right? Like it's like there's this suffering that college students are just intended to endure, right? Like you hear people laugh and joke about college students being on an oodles and noodles diet, and you hear people like, just there's like this level of suffrage that is just expected of these students. And I think we need to stop normalizing those things. We need and really talk about it because it's like it's not cool. It's not okay, right? It's not okay to be stressed out and to like not feel supported and not really have even where there are and campuses do a great job of providing a lot of resources, but there's like the navigation of those resources and the way those resources are even curated, and are they curated with students of color in mind, as a part of the greater conversation. So again, just thank you for sharing a little bit about your own journey. Before we transition, because I know we're going to talk about something totally different. I guess, is there anything else from your college experience that you would want to share? Maybe any lessons that you've learned over the course of your journey that you think could be helpful to someone else?
So I got this cool quote yesterday through an event that I attended with the Rutgers chaplain. Um, and it was, if your output exceeds your input, your lack of upkeep will be your downfall. And I think that not only
Oh,
applies,
one more time, one more time.
if your output exceeds your input, your lack of upkeep will be your downfall.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think like that's not only something that you struggle with in college, but I think it'll be something that like not only I'll struggle with in life, but like other people will too. Um, is just like upkeep within yourself, because like something that my mom like tells me all the time is that if I'm not healthy, like I can't help other people. And I think also too, from like, because I'm a Christian, from a Christian perspective, that like if I'm not healthy, I can't do the work that God wants me to do. um so really, I would just say like other tips is just to like stay healthy, and even if that compromises other things that you seem like you want to do right now, because if it's for you, it'll always be yours. So for example, with my degree, like I've had so many ups and downs, but every single time I get down, I get right back up and I'm still on the path to getting my bachelor's. So like if it's for you, like it'll be there for you once you fall and get right back up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love the quote. And then I hear your tip as being stay healthy, which is again back to the conversation of wellness and mental health. And um yeah. So thank you for that. So I wanna tell now a little bit about something we've been working on. So if you're just tuning in, you may have heard me mention that Shaniyla is a part of the Creatives on Campus team, and she is a partner, one of our core partners. So we talked a little bit before about what our core partnership model looks like and the different tiers of participation. In case you don't know or don't remember, here it is again. COC at the core is made up of creative developers, organizational learning partners, room makers, and everyday emergers. And so Shaniyla participated in our inaugural cohort of Everyday Emergers. At the time, the program was called Emerge NC. Uh, let's see, that was back in like October, November of
Mhm.
last year. And so from that program, she is now in the Creators on Campus Core Partnership Network as a room maker. And room makers are really the individuals who come in and they take up a specialty, a focus within our creative team. And so her focus has been as a technical assistant on our production team for the broadcast. She's backstage, as comments are coming in, she's getting them up on the screen for us. She's helping just make sure we have an overall smooth production, even helping to curate what these conversations look like. Some of the questions that you've heard us ask different guests on the show, she's curated those questions. And so um, we are now moving into a new level of partnership where we are actually partnering with her organization, Leaders of the Beautiful Struggle. And we are doing a series that, again, Shaniyla curated, came up with, and has been really spearheading and getting the interviewees. And it is a September series that highlights all student interviews. So, Shaniyla, I want you to talk a little bit about this because I feel like this is your own baby. Um, but just talk a little bit about what maybe people can expect in the coming weeks with the different interviews we're going to be hosting.
So yeah, as Brittany was saying, the podcast is going to be a back to school series, and the interviewees are all going to be Camden Ray's post secondary students. So they're going to either going to be college, trade school, grad school, and we have some really we're going to be interviewing some really exciting people that I'm excited for everyone else to meet. I know all of them who are going to be speaking personally, and I'm really excited for everyone to hear their stories and just like learn some things about them that they probably didn't know. And the people that I'm interviewing, I'm pretty sure like other people know as well. So I'm just really excited to get their story out there and kind of give them this platform to just speak, and to say something that they want to say on a more broader level.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so that starts next week, literally next week. That we're going to be having, like she's already said, we're going to have these different Camden Ray students come on. I'm really excited about it. We started getting some submissions in, and we have just a really good range of students, undergraduate students, graduate students, finance majors versus urban studies. So I think the conversations are going to be who knows what's going to emerge because it's just, like I said, a really good range of people and talent. So Be sure to tune in if you are interested in potentially coming on. If you are a student and you are candid raised and you want to be a part of this, feel free. I'm dropping the form in the chat so you can click on that form, complete it, get it back to us, and we'll reach out to you. Even if you're not from Camden, if you are interested in being on the podcast, as we move into the month of October and forward, our goal is really to interview students. Now that the school year has started, we've heard from a lot of great founders and former graduates and higher ed professionals, but now it's time to hear from the students. So if that is you, please, please, if you know someone who has something to share, who's a creative, a business owner, a artist, definitely share this opportunity with them. We want to hear from them. And again, there's so many great opportunities coming up within Creatives on Campus, and even within this partnership with Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle that you definitely want to be a part of. So, Shaniyla, I know we also, are in the planning phases of what will be a meetup for Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. So maybe talk a little bit about some of the work that Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle has done in the past, some of the projects or schools you've attended, and then a little bit about what you're anticipating this would be.
So, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle is a member based organization. And as part of being member based, we also, as I said earlier, go into high schools to speak to high school students to prepare them for life after high school. So, when you're a member, you get put into a group chat with other young professionals, whether they be in college or not. And every month, we have a video call with someone who's been a professional in their field for some time now, so maybe someone who's older. We just hear from them and be able to have like kind of a one-on-one and like a more informal chat with them and be able to ask them questions. If you have anything that you want to like know about them and just hear more about their story. So yeah, and we're planning a meetup for this, hopefully October, and it'll be another extension of our partnership with Creatives on Campus. Um, and we just plan to kind of meet up in person in a time where that's really hard to do. So just provide a space for us to meet in person and kind of catch up, and just kind of mingle and meet each other in person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to say this. It's important to say that with COVID-19 going on, there's a lot of question around meeting up and gathering, and if that's a responsible thing to do. So I want to just put it out there that we are not slowing down with Creatives on Campus, and even with our partnerships and with people we work with, we are being incredibly cautious, incredibly safe. We are requiring masks. We are limiting the number of people who can gather, and every other precaution that is necessary. But engagement, especially for college students, is such an important factor in the college experience. And so it's something we will not be neglecting. Um, and of course, it's another great opportunity to continue coming on Friday nights and having these conversations and connecting virtually as well. So just know we're going to keep it pushing, and of course we're going to just make sure everyone is taking the precautions needed. So looking forward to that. I guess it's just there anything else? I know we've talked a good deal about your college experiences and Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. Maybe even talk a little bit about what if you could share a little bit of your vision for Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. What would you like Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle to be? As it continues to grow.
Similar to Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle in Baltimore, I would like it to become a youth. Not so Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle in Baltimore deals with advocacy with Black people in Baltimore specifically, but I would like our organization to become the Center for Youth Advocacy in Camden. So I noticed a lot that the word, that politicians in Camden, or like servant leaders in Camden, they always ask the question like, what do the youth want? And they go to everybody else except the youth to get the answer. So I would kind of like Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle to be the head of that, so we can kind of be a kind of like our own little voting block, to get that information out to politicians, because we are the youth and we're a completely youth run, youth led organization.
That's good. That's good. That's good, and that applies in so many other ways. You know, just in education, I think that's a reoccurring challenge and opportunity is to really engage the people that you're asking about, right? Engage people that you're working on behalf of and supporting, right? That's a really, really good. That's exciting. I'm excited for everything. I am a fan. I've worked with them, and just continue to support it. Definitely by our creators on campus, and I'm just looking forward to continuing our partnership and see what emerges. I want to, I always take space when I have guests on, especially ones who I know personally and have gotten the opportunity to know personally, to just show gratitude. So I want to do that, and I want to say thank you for just being consistent and being willing and just again, I hate like over, selling it, because I'm not trying to make you feel weird or uncomfortable or like put the pressure on, but I've been saying this. I am just really excited about what your future looks like. I don't know what's ahead, but I just know based on what you've done, what you're doing, and just where your head is at this stage in life, that it's pretty exciting. So keep up the great work, and thank you for everything you do for creators on campus. And yes, I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just add Leaders of Beautiful Struggles social media information?
Of course, of course.
So on Instagram, you can follow us at LBSCMD. Again, that's LBSCMD.
All right, and we're going to put it on the screen so anyone watching, of course, can go ahead and follow Leaders of, I'm trying to spell it out, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. All right, so we're already following everyone else. Be sure to go head over to Instagram and follow the amazing work that Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle is doing. Any final words, Shaniyla?
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. I like it. Thank you again, and yeah, the people will, I'm sure, be seeing more of you because you're here. You're here to stay. All right. Have a great evening, Shaniyla.
You too.
Thank you. All right. So that is Shaniyla once again. Just one of my most favorite people, student, scholar, student founders, creators, whatever you want to call them. Shaniyla is someone I'm very proud and excited to know. Just to wrap this up tonight, I want to remind you to, if you are not already, like us as well on Instagram at Creatives on Campus. You can also like our Facebook page. At some point in the near future, we'll be moving our podcast over to the Creatives on Campus page. And so Happily Better After, our content will be much more focused on, just other programming. But the Creators on Campus Facebook page is up. It's available for you to engage with. So feel free to go ahead and like that. And again, if you are interested in being a guest on our show, if you're a student, if you're a professional, if you have a story to share relevant to the college community, we would love to hear from you. And again, that form is in the comments. So go ahead and click on it and we will make it happen. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Enjoy Labor Day. We're here at Labor Day weekend. And for every student who's tuning in and who is back in school, be encouraged. This is a beautiful time to be innovative, to be creative. Your schools need your innovation. They need your feedback. They might not be asking you for it because they're trying to find the answers elsewhere, but don't be afraid to show up and to speak up. If you have something to say, something to contribute, value to add, which I know you do, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Once again, It's a Different World with Creatives on Campus, where we're exploring all things creatives, community, and campus culture. I have been your host, Brittany T, and we will see you again next Friday.